without any further ado whatsoever, we're being joined by our second guest of the evening, and that is Rizin Bantamweight, Mr. Anthony El Toro Birchak. Anthony is. Are you fighting tonight, or did you already fight? Did I miss something here?
Me?
I thought you were supposed to fight. No, Anthony.
Fighting July 30th.
You. July 30th.
Fighting July 30th.
I'm getting June and July mixed up. I'm getting old here, man. I don't know what's happening.
It's all good. No, I fought Kawajiri in April, and then I'm fighting in the first round of the Rizin Bantamweight Grand Prix July 30th.
Now, we were just talking about this, right? That is this one of the things that you're really excited for competing with Rizin about? Because we were just talking about one of the things that MMA has kind of forgotten that I think it really needs to kind of balance things out was having those one night Grand Prix tournaments, even if you don't do the whole tournament one night, where you set up the tournament and maybe do it over in a couple,
4
like
months,
3
5
week period
months.
of time. Yeah, like it doesn't even.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't.
Dude, could you imagine if the UFC the last one they did was for the flyweight division,
Yeah.
right? So could you
remember
imagine
how
literally if they
pumped
just said,
people
hey,
were
we're gonna
about
have a
that
heavyweight. Yeah, exactly. And that was only a 4-man tournament. Could you imagine like an 8-man or a fucking 16-man tournament? That'd be dope.
Oh my God. And I just seen Cyborg. I was talking about it. We were just talking about her. She was tweeting how she wants to do another one before she retires. And we had Amber on, who was just signed to the Bellator's featherweight division. I was just saying that's something I think a lot of these fighters would kind of end a lot of these questions about who really is the best in that division. And yes, this is who you do those tournaments and you're always gonna have people like, oh well, so and so got hurt in the second round and they had to pull out. Those things happen. We just seen we seen what happened a few years ago when Mo got into Rizin's tournament and wound up winning. Kind of fell short last year, but I mean it's just one of those things where anything can happen on in a few weeks period of time. And people also tend to forget before Mo won that tournament, he lost. He lost a decision in Bellator and then took that fight on short notice and wound up going home with $100K. It's not a bad tournament. Yeah.
No,
man.
exactly, and that's why like I've been looking at my career as of lately, and if you guys look, it's win loss. I mean, it's just it's spotty, but this is something that I get to do in my career that puts me among the names of the old time great MMA guys. You know what I mean? People that would literally be willing to do a tournament. How many modern day fighters are even actually able to do that or experience that, man? Not many, So the last time a tournament was in my life, it was Drew Fickett, who was my coach. He ended up winning the Shine tournament. I don't know if you remember the promotion Shine. They only had like maybe 1, 2, 3 shows. But, he beat Dennis Bermudez in a night. He beat Charles Crazy Horse Bennett, and then he fought Carlo Prater twice. That was like one of the dopest things I've ever seen, and I was like, I want to do that. I want to see how, my body and how my mental game, would last during a tournament like that. But, dude, this is such an amazing opportunity in my life. I look over my career and this is something that is definitely ranks up with the top accomplishments of even just being in the tournament right now. And once I win it, it's something that will be cemented in history forever.
It's one of the things like I really like Rizin coming back and kind of bringing that promotion overseas that I kind of felt like we were missing since Pride was bought and put into the UFC and whatnot. But a lot of people initially thought maybe one would be that promotion, but they just don't have a format that is really kind of connecting with the fans the way that Pride did. And you're starting to see Rizin kind of picking up that flag and kind of running with it. And they may not have all the greatest fighters in the world, but I can tell you, the people who are involved right now, like yourself, you even seen Andy Wynn go over there and she's taking fights over there. we've already seen Bellator fighters hop on over and do it, as we had already talked about.
Well, here's the thing. You want me to tell you what's going to blow Rizin up, and it's going to be it is going to be that Eastern superpower, is the way they treat the fighters, man. Let me tell you, I could not go on more about how much amazing treatment I got, from Rizin and their upper management. I mean, it's just a tremendous experience, from the hotel to the way, everything was just so done so professionally, so crisp. The translators were perfect. It was a great experience. And, if guys like myself continue to boast about the experience that I had, that's what's gonna bring, top level fighters over to the organization. These tournaments are gonna bring top level fighters over to the organization. We already talked about King Mo and Crow Cop and old school guys like Keith Haring and these things are huge in MMA, because you get to see fighters fight each other that otherwise wouldn't ever have an opportunity to, and I think it's just going to be a matter of time before Rizin really steps back into that pride kind of feel.
Now, like you've been involved in a lot of promotions over here in the States. You've been to the UFC. You fought in some of the local and regional promotions here in the U.S. And I actually got into it with a fan the other day, and he's like, well, MMA is just so much bigger in the USA than it is in the UK or in other parts of the world. I'm like, you're out of your mind, dude. Go and tune into a UFC fight. Not even the first fight pass, like even the last fight pass fight, and it's basically an empty arena. When you go to the UK, when you go to Japan, that first event, that stadium is packed to the gills.
Yeah.
Or am I just blowing smoke up people's butts?
No, I think maybe there was a misunderstanding. I'll agree with you 100%. The fans in other nations are completely supportive. You know what I mean? And they come out in droves, and they sell out. But I think what I kind of agree with him is that there's more promotions. You get like 3 events a month. You get 3 events a month. There's more promotions.
I'm like, yes, we get 3 events a month from the UFC. I will give you that on most months. However,
but even
not
look
every
at
single one of those events is in
3 fights. There was just 3 fights that happened all on the same day. There was Pro Fight League right in Daytona. There was Legacy Fighting, and then there was another fight, and then Vinny Magalesh fought yesterday or today in Russia. So that was 3 on this side of the world and 1 on that side of the world. You know what I mean? I think that's there's definitely more opportunities and more organizations to fight for on this side, in America. But as far as the support and how big MMA is around the world, I think he was incorrect with that for sure.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of where I'm saying where fans in the U.S. When it comes to MMA, they're almost like Dodger fans. If you get that baseball analogy where they show up late and leave early kind of situation, but it's kind of the other way.
Right?
It's not. They don't leave early for the main event, but like some fans that when they tune in, they're there for the star or maybe that local guy that is fighting on the card, and then after that they're not really interested in it. Where other parts of the world, like you go to Brazil, it's insanity. You go. You watch any type of MMA and anywhere in Japan, it's freaking insane. The fans are nuts over it. But it's just the feel is like you'd already said, it's different from the United States to other parts of the world. And then we're not even. It's not even the top 4 sports in the United States. It's borderline mainstream in parts. Is it on national TV? Yes, but it's not. It's not where like if you're in the UK, we're not talking about MMA. You're probably talking more, soccer or football.
Even now, like when I go out for runs, in Tucson and I go to like national parks and stuff, there's a mountain that we run up. It's only like a 1.5 miles to the top, but it's like a 40-degree incline. right? And, a lot of the fighters go up and train there and do sprints up the hills and stuff. And I remember, getting to the top and people were like, oh, you're training for something? I'm like, yeah, I fight for the UFC. And they're like, what's that? For us to still live in a world where people don't know what the UFC is crazy.
It just proves my point correct with what I was talking to this guy, and he's from overseas. He's from the UK, which is why I kind of felt weird. Like how don't you know that it's more it's more popular with the fans? Yes, we might have more fights per year in the United States, but hey, the UFC is a US-based promotion. They save more money when they stay in the United States.
Because look, let's say there's a lot of guys here that starts a promotion that is just a rich a trust fund baby that likes MMA. Maybe he's trained it, maybe he's fought once or twice, and he's 0-3 or whatever, but he really likes the sport, and he has financial capital to start an organization, not keep an organization running. But I think we have more of those little upstart leagues regionally in state than most likely the UK does, or any other nation like that. It's not it's not like a fan with a whole bunch of money that wants to start organizations in London. They got Cage Warriors, they got Bama, and that's pretty much the run of it.
Now, let me get Carrie in here before I start running away with it even more.
Hi, how you doing?
What's going on?
Not much. You know what? I definitely think that you guys are absolutely right, and I think it's right now there's just it's huge with that. There's a lot of promotions popping up, and all over the place, and it really is. I hope it's going to bring the sport to a different level where everybody's going to know about it, because that really is a shocker to me that people don't know what the UFC is. That
it blows my mind.
Everybody knows what it is.
It blows my mind.
That's pretty incredible. And I mean, what was his reaction when you told him what it was?
Nothing. I said it's a it's a combat sport. It's like I was like, those fights in the cage, and he's like, oh yeah, I've heard of those. You know what I mean? Like it was it was a story of lore and of tale. But no, it's like this is shit that's going on right now. But again, we live in a sport where I said, there's a lot of people with a lot of money that like MMA that start an organization. You know what I mean? There's no under leagues for the NFL. There's could you imagine if, let's say each state has about anywhere from 3 to 5 MMA promotions, right? Every state probably has that, if not, 1 or 2. But not every state has a AAA baseball team or a minor league football team or anything like that. We live in a sport where you can literally, if you have enough money, you can rent a cage and you can find 15 assholes to fight each other. So that's the kind of sport we live in, where if I walk into a Walmart parking lot and I say I have $500 here to the first 2 people that fight, I'll get 2 guys throwing down immediately, no questions asked. That's why fighters cannot go on strike. Because if the UFC fighters went on strike, if Bellator fighters went on strike, they would just pull everybody up from the bottom feeder leagues, and people are going to watch 2 guys fight no matter what. Yeah, you're going to lose numbers because your star power's not there, but people inherently want to see others fight for some reason. So it's been since the Romans that shit's happened.
That is the one thing I will give Dana credit for, that he's absolutely right, dude. It's the one thing that transcends over everything, over language barrier, over nationalities, over anything. When it comes down to it, that human beings just love to slow down and quote unquote watch the car wreck. Watch a person testing their skills in combat versus another person.
But if we took a page out of boxing's book, where it was, the WBO, the WBC, the IBO, stuff like that, where there's literally 4 different organizations, but they all fight each other. Now that makes sense, because now you're reaching, way more nations, way more people that want to see Bellator champion versus the UFC champion, versus the ONE FC champion versus the Rizin champion. It's just that would grow our sport. But these guys are so the UFC's so weird about, like.
But here's the thing: they can't hold on to that anymore, can they? If they're letting Conor McGregor fight in a boxing match where he has no experience,
they absolutely
in a boxing
have
case
to let everybody else do it.
Yes, if someone comes to them with an opportunity like what we were talking about earlier with a tournament, regardless if we're talking about the women's featherweight division or hell, like you look at how crazy Bellator's welterweight division has gotten over the last few years. You take the top 5 guys in both UFC, Bellator, and Pro Fight League, take all their top 5 welterweights and have a one-man tournament one night. It would be amazing. I don't care where you put it on, who promotes it, regardless if the UFC is the one that gets all the pay-per-view revenue. But the undercard they're putting on Spike TV for Bellator is concerned, and the whole time while Pro Fight League is able to kind of get the post advertisement rights to air it on a later date on their network. However, they wind up working that aspect. It'll fool because they have all the star power you're putting together for that one night.
Like a lot of people want to hate on Conor because he's able to do shit that other fighters aren't able to do. But what they don't realize is he's breaking down barriers. Because now, let's say, Jesus, Tyron Woodley wanted to go fight somebody somewhere else. The UFC would have to let him because now it is a infraction on the Good and Fair Business Practices Act, which is illegal, right? You cannot hold somebody in a contract from making money outside of you. So,
after hearing the fact that they were just shopping around the entire flyweight division, kind of throws all that out the window. That you were going to sell this guy's contract off to another promotion.
We were literally just talking about this in the pool. We were like, think about that. It's like, you're gonna complain about how you're being treated. Cool, I'll just sell you. It's like indentured servitude or slavery. You know what I mean? Like, you're gonna cause a ruckus on this plantation, and we're gonna send you to that plantation. You know what I mean? It's like
it's almost like
that's like the worst. That's the worst analogy I could give. But you know what I mean? Like we're independent contractors. We should be able, even though we're in a 4-fight contract with this organization, if I have money, or if I'm able to make money in a boxing or in a Muay Thai fight, not in MMA, right? I should be granted permission to go and compete in a Muay Thai fight, or compete in a professional boxing fight, or compete in professional jiu-jitsu, which they do allow. You know what I mean? But it needs to be more free and open like that. Because it's just it's almost just like they're keeping your thumb on you. You know what I mean? Like, okay, if you're not going to make money, you're not going to make money with us. You can't make money anywhere else. That's against the law.
Absolutely, it is against the law, and it's not right either. But you're right. People, I don't. There's things about Conor McGregor that I'm not a fan of, and I mean, it's more like, I feel like. I think it's right that he's doing the boxing thing if that's what he wants to do, but I feel like he should have defended his belt first. Just my opinion. However, what he's doing is opening doors for the fighters to do other things that I think that somebody needed to do that. Somebody needed to say,
he opens the door for bigger paychecks, and look what happened to Nate Diaz. He got a bigger paycheck, right? Look what happened to Eddie Alvarez. They got bigger paychecks. So he did that. He should. He went about it in the wrong way and saying, like, you should thank me. But he did break that barrier, you know what I mean? As much as like a fucking, like a asshole he was about it, he's absolutely right. And now here's the thing. Now the whole open contract with Combat Sports thing, where we may have unilateral competition between Bellator and UFC, or, boxing, the Diaz brothers can go box, you know what I mean? There's guys like Alan Joban who could go do pro Muay Thai, you know what I mean? And now they have, right, the UFC wants to bench you for a year. Cool, I'll fight 4 times for Lion Fights, or I'll fight 4 times for Glory Kickboxing, you know what I mean, and make some money before the UFC decides to put me back in an MMA fight. That needs to happen, because guys like myself, who have 4 kids and fought once in 2016, needed other avenues to make money. Either bring me to your shows and let me work a booth, or, pay me to do some commentary on Fight Pass, You need to do something with the guys who are sitting by idle. You cannot let them get benched for a year or a year and a half. You know, especially healthy guys. Like, why not let them fight outside of the UFC?
Now, you just touched on a point there, Anthony. Now, you just touched on an interesting point. Now, you're just saying how it's irritating. You only had one fight in 2016. You're talking about being brought in as commentary. Now, hearing that for Dana's new Contender Series, that they're going to bring in freaking Snoop Dogg to commentate for that, as a fighter, does that kind of like burn you up a little bit? Do we all love Snoop? Of course. Anyone who was around in the 90s and listened to him rap has love for Snoop. But as a person who is a part of that organization, and that is something that you feel you have something to give the promoter outside of what you do in the case, it's kind of disheartening.
Yeah, 100%. Absolutely. You know what I mean? Like, you know, you have Fight Pass, and you have, you know, TJ DeSantis and someone else commentating at EBI, and you have, you know, Dominic and Jason Chambers commenting a Shooto Brazil card, stuff like that. They need to do that with, you know, obviously not every fighter is as well-spoken as myself or Dominic or Uriah, but they need to take the ones that can speak, that are intellectual, that have fight IQ, and understand the game and utilize us. You know what I mean? And there's more than enough money being made to, you know, pay me shitty $1,000 commentating job. You know what I mean? But $1,000 goes a long way. Trust me. You know what I mean? Like, if I was making, like, let's say I made, you know, $500,000 on that one fight in 2016, I wouldn't be fucking complaining. You know what I mean? But I'm not. You know, I'm making less than somebody that works at McDonald's.
Is one of the things that I keep saying to everyone is like, oh, you know, everyone's complaining about Conor doing this and Conor doing that. Yeah, they're complaining because while Conor's doing this and that you're getting paid like basically minimum wage. That's what they're complaining about. But don't get me wrong. Let me preach to some. Let me preach to some fighters. If there's some other fighters out there listening, whether you're a veteran, whether you're a young guy, make sure you diversify yourself. Make sure you speak well. Make sure that you understand not only your division thoroughly, not in an organization, but the entire division. I've studied every 135, 145er just to look at who's making moves where in what organization. You know, and I've the guys that I've studied in the past that, you know, live a world away that I thought I would never fight, I ended up fighting. Delano Lopez, 2011, me and him fought on the exact same card down in Amazon Forest Combat in Brazil. Fast forward to 2016, me and the dude are fighting each other. You know what I mean? This world is too small in MMA to not understand who your division is. I always hear fighters like, yeah, I really don't know who that guy is, never heard of him. You better hear about everybody. That way, when you need a job, you can say, hey, I know that guy. I know my division. That's awesome. Let me commentate that fight. Let me break that fight down. Let me be in a commentary or color analysis. You know what I mean? Something like that. Fighters, diversify even if it's just for
yourself.
That fight.
Yeah,
even if it's just for that fight. You don't have to do the whole card.
Because you need to figure out how you're going to make money outside of fighting. You either need to have residual income from a gym ownership. You know, like myself, I opened up 10th Planet Tucson and Toro Tech Mixed Martial Arts, and I've gotten actually, you know, knowing that I get a paycheck from the gym is what, you know, I can sleep comfortably at night knowing I don't have a fight for a year. You know what I mean? I'm still getting money coming in like a normal job would, but, you know, every time I get a big fight, it's just a cherry on the, cherry on top. So my biggest thing to fighters is, dude, you guys have to figure out how to make money every way possible, whether it's putting on a suit and looking like a goofball, you know, and combing your hair and breaking down one of the guys that you hate the most in the division, or just something, man. You guys got to show that you're more than just a dude that knows how to throw leather.
I'd say to all these fighters, man, you guys need to have a backup plan outside of just throwing your fist. Like, you know, I bring him up all the time because he's local to me, but, like, you go look at Paul Felder. Yeah, he's, you know, an exciting lightweight, but the guy also has a degree from the University of Arts. He can go and turn around and start acting or do something in television or whatever. He has a backup plan now. Now, not every fighter has that luxury. Most people who got involved in fighting had rough upbringings, or it was a way to get away from this or that or the third. So maybe they don't have that support that they have a degree behind them. Not everyone's Joe Lozon and can walk away. Go ahead.
Let's look at it this way, right? Mike Tyson was one of those kids that had a rough upbringing, didn't know how to do much but fight, right? The guy can't even speak that well. But he dedicated now this life of not only turning his life around, but he's doing stand-up comedy. He's doing, breakdowns. He's doing everything he can to obviously take the black mark off his name, but he 100% diversified himself. He can't fight anymore, so what does he do, right? He tells his life story. He tells about his shitty upbringing. You know what I mean? Like, not everyone may be, a bestseller in a bookstore, but write a book, man. Everyone's got an interesting story. Everyone's got an interesting road. If you want to make a little money, maybe someone believes in you and invest in a book that you write about yourself. So it's just there's so much more outside of fighting. And even though, like, this is the ride I'm on now, I'm making sure that when I get off this ride, I got a ticket to the next ride. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Absolutely.
Once
you gotta have
the roller
something else to
coaster's
do.
done, the tilt-a-whirl's coming. And once the tilt-a-whirl's done, I'm going on that one thing, the zipper that makes you feel like you're going to throw up. So, I'm trying to go back to back into different rides and have a great time doing it.
That's awesome.
I gotta say,
that's a great
analogy.
analogy.
You definitely. Go ahead, Carrie.
Oh no, I just said that's a great analogy.
I gotta say one thing. I've interviewed Anthony a lot over the years, and I've interviewed him while he's in the UFC, before he's in the UFC. You actually sound happier, dude.
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, there's one thing I don't have to worry about right now, and that's when my next fight's gonna be. That's the biggest problem any married couple has is money. And when I know that I'm going to fight April 16th, and then I know I'm going to fight in the Bantamweight tournament July 30th, and then when I say, hey, when I win that fight, I'm going to fight December 29th, and I'm going to fight January 1st. The next thing I'm going to be thinking about is how am I going to get this belt on the plane? How do I get this big-ass check to carry on? You know what I mean? That's where I'm looking at, bro. I don't have to worry about nothing. I'm feeling good. I own a gym. My business is flourishing. I've become part of one of the most, popular jiu-jitsu systems in the world that Eddie Bravo's created with 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu. It's just been, I'm having a good time, man. And that's, I think, I don't know, I wasn't very happy, about the fight with Kawajiri, but that was the best fucking time I'd ever had getting my ass kicked.
And anyone knows Anthony, he effing hates losing.
Yeah, I wasn't happy about it, dude, but let me tell you something. I fought a legend. When they were playing Kawajiri's, his timeline, 2005, he was fighting in the Prix Grand Prix or the Dream Grand Prix. You want to know what I was doing? I was barely getting out of high school, didn't know, I was still trying to finger bang chicks and go to parties and shit. That dude was already fighting before I even thought about MMA being an option. So, for me to be able to go out to Japan, which is the cradle of martial arts, there's so much honor and respect going on. To fight somebody who's a iconic, not just an MMA, but a Japanese MMA icon like Tatsuya Kawajiri, I jumped at the chance. Bump up a weight class, I'm cool, I can do that. Now I can drink beer and eat tortillas and beans and all the stuff that I like to eat. Cool. And train, cool. But now this is the thing is like that left a bad fucking taste in my mouth. So now I'm gonna remind all these little 5'4" Japanese dudes that come into my division. I promised everybody I will be the first Bantamweight Rizin World Champion. And they put me and Kyoji on the same Kyoji Horiguchi on the same side. That was the dumbest thing they could have done. You know what I mean? We're gonna see each other in the semis, and we're gonna bang it out. But I just see myself being the more dangerous fighter.
I know one thing is when one thing, Anthony, when you feel like you're kind of your back up against the wall, and you know, you're a dangerous person, man. You know, a lot of people have counting you out at points of times in your career, and typically when that happens is typically when you give them that reminder. So I have nothing.
So here's.
Go ahead.
But let me clarify this: is like now, you know, with the organization that I'm in, you know, where I'm at in my life right now, I've barely made peace with the fact that I'm no longer a newbie in this sport. I'm classified as a veteran now. You know what I mean? I'm almost going on 10 years. So in this point in my career, I don't feel like my back is on the wall, which was a dangerous me, right? You saw against Joe Soto and you know, Delano. The other guy that's incredibly dangerous is the dude that has no fear. I don't care about losing my job. I don't care about putting on. I get to go out and just fucking fight, dude. I don't have to worry about shit. So the guy that's going to go out and win this tournament is a dude that's just putting a stamp on all the shit I've already accomplished in my career. And I'm going to go win this Bantamweight Grand Prix. The first guy that's going to get it is Takafumi Otsuka. He's the deep champ. Mm-hmm. If you watch his last title defense, I don't think he won. I think the dude that was a Muay Thai fighter I thought that kid beat the shit out of him. But in Japan and in deep, there's 5 judges. So if you don't finish the champ, you're not going to be the champ.
Gotta love Anthony always dropping some knowledge on us, straighten out the record. Oh man.
Oh man, shut up, man! You guys got me excited now.
Dude, that's all I can hope to do, man. Is have a fun conversation, and hopefully we can, without causing too much trouble, get you excited for what's to come, man. So if you're excited about this fight now, I can't wait to see what's going to happen. If you're already excited, and we're we're just under a month away.
I've broken down my opponent, and I've looked at all his fights. You know, he fought 3 fights ago. He fought a guy that was 1-0, and he had a hell of a time fighting him. You know, this last guy that he fought for deep and defended his title, I don't think he won. And then the one before that, he carries around his deep belt and the World Series of Fighting Global belt. And out of all the research I've done, and I challenge you to do the same. You can go to SureDog. You can go to Underground. You can go and look at all the MMA archives. See if he fought anybody for that World Series of Fighting Global belt, because I think the fight that he got that belt, it was a draw, and I think the next fight got canceled or fell through. So I don't even know how he has 2 belts right now. That's what I don't get is the last title defense. I don't think he won, and then the 2 fights before that was a draw. How do you win a belt in a draw?
I know how you feel that way. I've seen some fights on the regional scene, and people kind of hype some of these guys up. He's like, oh, this guy's a 3-time champion, he's won multiple belts. And then I looked at some of those fights and was like, I went to sleep. How did he win?
Here's a perfect example. I don't know if you guys just saw the recent Tough Enough that happened. Cheyenne Lease-Monts beat the hell out of this girl, and Cheyenne slammed the girl and dislocated her own arm in the slam. And that other girl ended up winning, right? And, like, that girl was walking around with the belt all proud of it. And like, she got her ass kicked from bell to bell and was still, wearing that belt like she earned it after, Cheyenne put a clinic on her and just happened to hurt herself because she went too hard. I'm telling you, saw the energy I'm putting out right now, man. I'm going to smoke this dude come July 30th.
Hey, dude, it's
I'm
one of the
excited.
things. When I heard that's where you were going, I was really excited for you because I know that it was a good match. A lot of times you see when guys leave the UFC, you see some of these fans like, oh, he would have done great here and there, and oh, he should have fought this. And I'm like, listen, these guys know what's best for their career. They know what opportunities in front of them, and I just kind of felt that anywhere else, like someone was telling me like, oh, he should have went to Bellator. It would have been a perfect match. I'm like, yeah, but would he be able to have all these opportunities?
You know who offered me a lot of money? ACB. ACB offered me a lot of money and a title fight. And just the fact that I mean, they just got Zach Makovsky, they got Albert Tumanov, they got Bubba Jenkins. They just signed a whole slew of top level dudes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they were willing to give me some good money to come over. But like I said, man, the opportunity to fight in Japan, which is the cradle of martial arts, and just everything that you look to as a kid watching Pride, watching, Vanderlei and watching Dan Severn and Don Fry and, all these amazing dudes fight over there. That's something that my MMA career has now come full circle.
It's one, like I said, it's one of the things. Couldn't be happier for the opportunity you have in front of you. Hearing from you, seeing how it's all played out, man, I'm really excited for what's to come, man. It could be the start of a big run for you to kind of finally feel you kind of reach your potential there. We'll see how it all plays out. I got the utmost faith in you, my friend. I always have. Before we get ready to let you go, anything you would like to add before we send Anthony on his way, Kerry?
Well, you know what? I definitely think that's really awesome that you're fighting in Japan, and I know, that the history there is amazing, and Rizin is a really, really, really great organization, and I just want to say congratulations, and I'm really excited to see you fight.
Thank you, guys. I'm so happy that you guys continue to support me, and you guys you guys keep up with me still, and thank you again for having me on and letting me vent and speak my mind and do all that good shit.
Always, brother. Always.
Ready.
I mean, it's always a pleasure hearing from you, man. Always.
I told my wife, I was like, I don't really feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. She's like, I know what it is. I'm gonna set you up interviews because you not talking about the fight. You need to just start talking shit is what you need to do. She's like, just start talking shit.
That's what I'm starting to get irritated because everyone's starting to feel like they have to talk crap about their opponent to get hyped for it. Sometimes it's just actually just talking about the certain aspects of it is kind of what gets you going. You don't necessarily, it doesn't, just because you're fighting this person, unless you have a legitimate reason to dislike the person, why are you going to go talk crap about him? It seems like everyone's trying to, the saying is everyone's trying to be Conor, even though Conor is acting like other people, but that's besides the point. I just think it's kind of a misconception there that you guys can hype up a fight without talking crap to one another.
Oh yeah, 100%. No, he's, you know what I mean. Takafumi Otsuka is a world champion. He's a deep champion, and I'm going to take him as such. But I'm also a world champion, and I just think I'm a better wrestler, I'm a better jiu-jitsu guy, and a way better striker. So wherever this goes, I know I'm going to finish him. He's been dropped by a right hand from a skinny guy. Now he's just going to get dropped by a right hand from a skinny Mexican. So
I like it. Anthony, you know how we wrap this thing up, brother. Throw the proverbial microphone over to you. Anyone you would like to thank? Training partners,
I want to
teammates.
Go ahead. Mainly my training partners, man. My coach, Casey Halstead at 10th Planet Las Vegas, owner of 10th Planet Monster Squad. Without Casey, I would have never, fulfilled my dream of being a gym owner or even progressing to this level of jiu-jitsu that I have today. I want to thank everybody at Extreme Couture, Randy and Ray Seffel, Eric Nixick, Dennis Davis, Tim Lane, everybody that's just been, all my training partners there at Extreme have been a tremendous help. My family, Mercedes White, for always holding it down and believing in me and being my rock and stuff. So the fans, thank you guys so much. Going from one organization to the other, you guys have been, following me no matter what, and I really love you guys for it. Make sure everyone follows me at Twitter, at Birchak MMA. Twitter and Instagram are the same, and then my fan page on Facebook is facebook.com/Anthony Birchak. Thank you guys so much.
It's always a pleasure, Anthony. You have a good evening, man. Best of skill to you on the July 30th event, and hopefully we get to see some more highlight reel stuff.
Awesome, bro. Thank you guys so much.